Hey everyone, welcome to my very unclean desk. I'm supposed to stay away from the windows right now due to some weather, so let's go ahead and get to it. I'm going to talk about tonality today. That's this step component right here, and I'm going to specifically be talking about how to make bass lines with it. The reason tonality is good for that is because 3 increases the note on a step by an octave, 4 increases it by a fifth. And that's something that bass players do a lot to vary things up. Either they'll start an octave higher and then, play the rest of it at the root, or they will, I guess that'd just be, decreasing an octave is what I mean. Or they might increase an octave here and there, or a fifth to vary things up. Thirds are also used, but we'll get to those later. They get a bit trickier with the master track. So let's go ahead and I'm going to I already added a kick track, but I'm actually going to erase this project. You can follow along however you want. I'm hitting down metronome and I'm at 150 on this one, just because that sounds good. Switch to the kick, and I'm going to I'm just going to put one there and there. So it's going to be kind of a D&B, like breakbeat type of thing. And I'm just going to actually pick a preset here, and then maybe I'm just going to transpose those a little bit, and we'll see what we end up with. Same thing here. Let's go to one of the ones I downloaded. Very weird. How about we try this instead? Okay, still weird, but I'm fine with it. So I'm going to change to the bass track here, and what I want you to do to follow along with this is hold down track and shift, change your step length to 4, and then also change your step count to 4. So I just pressed the 4, and then I pressed this 4th step. Then hold down record, and I'm just going to hit C, 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 C. Oh, geez, that's way louder. I had the gain up too high on the synth track, and so I just turned it down by holding down mixer, and then this is synths, this is drums. I'll get to that another time. Okay, I kind of leveled those a bit better. So that's going to get old quickly. Right now we have it so that this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Bass players often want to emphasize 1 and 3. That's at least what I've been told. I don't know. So I'm going to hit trigger spark, then 4. So these are only going to play the 4th time that it passes by. And so right now that's just adding a trigger spark, but we're starting to put together a bit of a bass line. Now let's get to tonality. I'm going to hold shift and hit that step. Then I'm going to click tonality. And now I'm going to mostly be thinking, do I want it to be an octave higher or do I want it to be a fifth higher? That's mostly what I'm going to be sticking with. Let's say an octave higher. And then I'm going to also add a component spark. I'm going to give that a value of 2. So it'll happen every second time. Or no, I'll do 1. So it's starting to come together a little bit, right? I'm going to add, and from here I would encourage you just to play around and add different tonality 3s and 4s to wherever you see fit. So I'm just going to add one there. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, I mean, why not? So I'm hoping yours is turning out more interesting than this, but I hope that you're still learning from it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section. So we've tried value 3 and 4, and let's talk about the master track. So I'm going to hold down track and go to master. And the things that master track shows you, it shows you the key or the tonal center that your OPZ thinks that you're in, and it shows you the scale that it thinks that you're using. And so you probably can't see it on the camera, but this is a little bit brighter than all the other notes that are highlighted right now. So it thinks that we're in C, but I'm not sure if you can see it, but it is highlighting C, D, E, F, G, A, and B flat. So you don't need to know everything about music theory to know B flat is not part of C major. It thinks that we're in Mixolydian, which is a really fancy way of saying you play B flat instead of B in B major, or in C major. So regular C major scale, but instead of B, you just do B flat. So that's what that means. That doesn't make a huge difference, but let me go back to the bass, or let me show you like kind of what I'm building to here. I'm going to use the master track for the bass track to create our chord progression. Track, shift, I'm going to change the step length to 8. I think at least. I got this wrong in another take. So I'm going to put in our chord progression. I'm going to say, here I want it to be C. Here I want it to be E. And then for the last two, I'll make it G. So I don't know if you can hear, but when it's on this E, it is playing this B flat. Every time that it gets that fifth, I'm saying, oh, I want you to be in C major, so please play, please. So play E, G, and B. But it says, okay, we're in C mixolydian, so that's actually going to be an E diminished instead of an E minor. I think I may have said E major there, whatever. So I hope that that makes some sense. I'm not saying that you can't use the transpose or the tonality or the master track, but I am saying it can sometimes mess with things a little bit. But there's something we can do here. So right here, I have it playing the fifth. I'm instead going to just say, I'll just make it a G because I know that that's the fifth of C. I'm going to change the tonality to value 2. And what value 2 is going to do is it's going to say that when the master track says to transpose this, it'll transpose it exactly the amount that it's supposed to. So it's going to transpose it a third in this case. And it's going to make it E. Well, actually, will it make it E major? I don't know. That's a great question. Oh, wait, what am I thinking? So if it's going to play the fifth, anyway, I believe it played, it played that B natural instead of the B flat. So I think that that's one way that you can make up for that. This time I'm going to do something a little bit different. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything important there. So yeah, you can correct that with value 2. Sometimes for your bass line, though, you also want there to be kind of a motif that happens between chords and doesn't always change with them. And I'm going to show you one way of doing that. So I'm going to let this play through, and then right here, I think I'll just play like E and G a few times. So you hear how it keeps, I quantized it, by the way, by track and then moving that yellow wheel, so hopefully it's a little better. Now I'm going to hold shift and select these 3 steps that I just played onto. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tonality 1. So that means that no matter what the master track is transposing to, it'll keep these notes the exact same. You could also make it so that that happens, maybe the first 3 times, but not the 4th time. So it's ignoring that chord progression the first 3 times, and then the 4th time it's going to follow it, and it'll play relative to G. So something that you could do just to keep things kind of varied. And now it's sort of like just by adding these step components, you've been able to really make a bass line, in my opinion, between the master track and the bass track itself. I personally don't use the master track much. I was originally going to call this video No Gods, No Master Tracks, but I thought nobody would get it. So I just don't like the master track a ton because I would rather just play what I want over each chord instead of having to, come up with one line that's going to work over every single chord. So I just generally don't use the master track for this. So I'm actually just going to go over here and erase all the steps on there by holding down track and stop. Now I'm going to move back to the bass track. I just want to show some sort of other ways that you could use this. I'm going to erase all the steps here. You could use this method to change step count to 16. to just kind of tap in what you think the bass line should be. Man, I am just not on top of my timing today. Okay, close enough, right? So I have these this playing, or I played in the rhythm that I had in my head, or like a rhythm I could have done, and now I could change these and sub out some fifths, some octaves. I like to use it that way sometimes. That is kind of cool. I'll usually though have it be, the full loop that I play through, like I said. You could also really condense your bass part by using step components. Let me show you kind of an extreme example of this. I'm going to go here. I hit track and shift, and then I change the step count to 4, and I'm going to change the length to 9. So each one of these is going to be a whole loop. And what I'll do here is I'm going to re-enter in our chord progression. I'm going to go C, E, G, G, I think I did. Actually, I changed my mind. Let's go back to 4. Here's how I'm going to make this take up all 4. Let's just say, for example, I'm just going to reuse what I did in the pulse hold video. Let's make these all 4. Let's change our mind. I'm going to have these grouped by 2, and I'm going to make it 6. So I just added a pulse 6 and a pulse hold 2 to this one. So I know that I'm going to take up 4 counts plus 6. So I'll make this one over here just take up 2, and it's just going to hold it. Then this one here is going to take up 4. And now, I don't know exactly. I have no particular plan. I'm legitimately just adding on different pulse and pulse holds, knowing what I want them to add up to. And then I'm going to add some multiplies. And there's other stuff you could do if you really wanted. But my point here is just that you can really, you can kind of just randomly generate a melody in 4 steps in a way, or a bass line in 4 steps in a way. Ooh, that did not sound great. Oh, geez. So that doesn't sound awesome. I'm actually going to go ahead and clear the step components off because I might as well just have something that's kind of, inoffensive and, just less annoying, really. So I'm doing pulse 4. I'm doing pulse hold 2. And I'll just do a multiply 2 here. And on this one, I'm going to do... I added those 4, and those will be played as 16th notes, because I'm going to add a multiply 9, which makes that a broken chord. Let's do this. This is going to be kind of silly. Let's remove that. And then I'm going to change this multiply to add a multiply 3 there. So we'll hear what this sounds like. Again, I'm just kind of making this stuff up, and it's not turning out awesome, but I use similar methods when I'm like going in with a plan. So that's the fun part, is that you could just use this kind of mess with things, or you could use it to like distinctly, quickly put down an idea. So if I wanted to say, I want a chord progression that, I'll just use what I did before, C, E, G, G. And I want it to just kind of be faster. So let's just do it as eighth notes. So it's going to be repeated eighth notes, and I'm going to have it repeat each of them 4 times. Yes, you could absolutely do this other ways, but I just kind of think, I don't know, there's just something about it that I just find kind of fun to be able to condense things down to just a few steps. To me, it, like I say, like keeps me moving faster. And now the nice part about this is I've got space for a B part, I've got space for a C part, and with the jump step components, I can easily move between them and create those verse forms I talked about. I'm worried that I didn't really get across what I was hoping to get across in this video. I just like to show the ways that you could use this, so hopefully you're able to follow along and you're able to take a look at your bass line and think about whether you want to sub in some octaves or some fifths by using tonality 3 or 4. Maybe you even think about having a certain line that doesn't change with your chord progression if you have one. As a bonus tip, I always forget this, but you could just use the master track. If I set it to, 9, I could use it just to change this last measure out of a 16 bar loop, or these last 4 bars. I could just have it change the chord for those. I often think I have to do a full progression like I demonstrated today, but you could just use it for a part like that, and I think that'd be really neat. One crucial thing that I want to mention is that if you do use it for that, you can hold down shift and you can decide which tracks it will transpose. You can't pick any of the, I guess you can, because you can send MIDI out here. So you can choose the line out if you're sending MIDI out there. You could choose the synth tracks or the drum tracks. For the drum tracks, it doesn't change the pitch, it changes which slice it plays. More on that in the sampling video, which is going to be another time. And then so it's telling me it's going for the bass and then these other 4. So that's just how you can control that. And hopefully this is helpful. Sorry for the frantic video. I just wasn't expecting the weather. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Bye.